My family have lived at Althorpe, which is 70 miles north of London, since 1508. And over the 19 generations since then, we've collected and amassed various pieces of furniture, either bought around Europe or commissioned particularly for my family. And the distillation of that collection is now in Althorpe today, 500 years on. And it's a growing collection as well. I still collect today. About 9 years ago, Paul Maitland-Smith came to see me, and he was so enthusiastic about the collection, and I'd met people before who wanted to reproduce it, and I hadn't been entirely convinced by their motives. But Paul said that he actually got this concept really clearly. So I let him loose in the attics and all the rooms at Althorpe with his creative director, and they reappeared 3 days later with 10,000 images of things they wanted to work with, which was a surprise to all of us. And so over the last few years, I think since 2004, we've put this Althorpe Living History line out there in the market, starting in High Point, and it seems to have taken off. It's been a great thing, and it's helped contribute to the maintenance of the house in England, and also it lets lots of people share these, I think, very beautiful objects. The main idea of this market was to make the narrative of 500 years a little bit more accessible. So we've broken it down into a story of the 9 Earl Spencers, going back to the mid-1700s, down to me. And so there are 9 signature pieces, one for each of the Earls, starting with the first Earl, who was this incredibly wealthy young man in England in the mid-18th century, and his very fine tastes, through all of the different politicians and leaders who have been in my family down to the present day. And I think the idea was to have something in particular that you could hang your hat on when you're telling the story. It's not just a block of 500 years of English history. It is one family's story that happens to be told through a house, and in terms of the house, through a collection of antiques and other collectibles. So this piece is very dramatic. It's got Victory written on the back, which is the name of the most famous warship that England's ever produced. And it's relevant to the second Earl Spencer, who lived at the beginning of the 19th century, and he was in charge of the British Navy then, and is responsible for building the navy that defeated Napoleon. So this is an obvious association with his finest hour, defeating Britain's greatest enemy in history, really. And I love it. It's got the 2 cannon, 24-pounder cannon on each arm, and people seem to really warm to it. It's got a bit of humour. It's a very masculine piece. And as with everything else, it's beautifully handcrafted, and it really works. Well, the piece right behind me, that's from the first Earl Spencer, who lived in the middle of the 18th century. And it's an adaptation. The outside is absolutely as the original piece is at Althorpe, but it's been adapted to modern use, and it's got a bar capacity now. And that's what I really like about these pieces, you know, that you can take the original and then put a little twist on it and make it relevant to the modern consumer. And I think that's a fine piece for my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather to be remembered by, because he liked the finer things in life and he liked entertaining, so it's a good adaptation. Well, I think they were struggling to find something I was good at, but I have brought out a few books, and actually my only claim to fame is one of them knocked Bill Clinton off the bestseller list in London, very briefly. So I'm an author, and that's a writing desk that I love working at old-fashioned desks rather than modern ones. I don't need lots of drawers, etc. And it's clever because you can lift it up and it goes on brackets, and you can have it at the right angle for you, whatever height you are or whatever. And I'm very flattered to be commemorated by any piece. Yes, the chair fits perfectly with the desk, and it's a really fine piece. I believe very strongly that you have to live in a home like this. There's only a handful left in England that are still entirely in private hands. And this is one of them, and it's very important that you enjoy it, you know. The first Lord Spencer, who died 500 years ago, left it in a condition in his will that Althorpe must be a place of entertainment. Well, I'm very happy to see that I keep to that part of the will, and so I fill it every month with friends and family and have a very good time there.